Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing tonight? I am your host, Erica. Tonight, I have on a guest host. We have Kenzie from last week's discussion about homemade burgers. Please introduce yourself, Kenzie.
Hello, I'm Kenzie. I cook food at home.
Yes, you cook food at home. Whereabouts are you from? Isn't it Florida?
Yeah, I live with all of the crazy people in Florida.
Florida trans people. You can't get any crazier than that. Next,
No,
next on, I have my resident Serbian, Mali. Say hello, Mali.
Hello.
And then we have our resident Kanukistani from the Soviet state of Kanukistan. Say hello,
Good.
Dale.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone, depending on when you're listening. I am Dale, the resident Soviet Kanakistani, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Now, anyone that is currently watching, I've made some little tweaks to things. We do have the YouTube chat on the screen for all of the hosts and myself, so I can see anything and everything that is said in there if you would like to post any questions or anything. And there's the first one. Z has posted saying hello. And now I will introduce our final host for tonight. We have my lovely fiance, Kota. Say hello, Kota.
Hello. I was just a little snack gremlin in my own damn house.
Yes, we need to snack gremlin all the time. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah,
Now,
except for I'm running like a troll behind you, literally right past your computer with chips, drinks, and M&Ms.
I saw this. So we have Kenzie, of course, and I wanted to bring this topic back up because she had said that she had never ever thought anyone would ever talk about her, and this is what happens when you are friends with someone who is just weird and wants to bring up weird topic. I bring up food,
food
and
is good.
I I really
Some food.
I really enjoyed um having the discussion that we had about burgers. And I was kind of wondering what exactly you do with your burgers when you cook them.
Yeah. It was super cool, like throwing that up there and seeing everybody kind of come along, just to like cheapen up like the creation of the burgers as much as possible. I thought that was just awesome to watch unfold. But my go-to burger recipe right now is you get like a pound of like ground beef, and then you get there's like onion soup powder mix that you can get, and you
Mm-hmm.
put that in with the ground beef when you make it into the patties, and then you fry them up on a pan, and then you get bacon jalapeno jelly. I found it just randomly in the supermarket somewhere, and I was like, "Wow, this looks amazing," and it was. So it's now just a mainstay. And I also put queso cheese instead of like American cheese or something like that.
I've asked Erica to try that, and she just gave me the most cat hairball Heimlich maneuver response to be had.
Speaking of burgers, here's a question. As a something I've recently become aware of and actually dabbled in a bit myself to try. Have you ever encountered a burger in which, when having the ground beef, you put an egg in it to
Yes,
What are your thoughts on said yay or nay on egg in the meat?
breakfast Sunnyside hamburgers are some of the best hangover burgers.
That's actually so what I meant was actually, so you not like a fried egg, but like you take the ground beef, you put it in a bowl, and you crack a raw egg over it, and
Oh,
then you cook it.
I thought you were talking about you center out the hamburger while you're cooking
Oh,
it, and then you
yeah.
drop the egg inside.
So
Oh no, this is more egg is like a binding agent
The binding
for the
agent.
burger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still I like that. That's my preference.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
probably should do that more, but
Yeah.
that's in my meatloaf recipe. Is you
Yeah,
put
well,
eggs in it.
it's basically a meatloaf patty on a bun, but I do it occasionally just for the extra protein. I've heard it doesn't tremendously change the burger, but it's good. It's good if you're trying. It's good if you're trying to add some extra protein into your diet. Just crack an egg or two in the burger.
Adding an egg binding is also pretty good if you want to, go a little bougie with your burgers, like
Mhm.
flour with spices and maybe some panko bread it.
Mm.
Like there are some purposes for using eggs in the binding for more than just that extra protein. A lot
Yeah.
of times I see it for the deep fried stuff,
Yeah.
or okay, I don't recommend steaming a burger, but I saw
No.
one used that way and it looked horrible. So
that
just
is
Yeah.
disgusting.
don't do that.
Make a
It
White Castle burger at home.
it also depends. Generally speaking, the leaner the ground beef, the more the egg might be required as a binding agent, because a super lean beef isn't gonna like bind as well as beef with more fat in it.
Yeah,
So
because it
if you
doesn't
get
have as
like
much juice in it.
yeah, so you don't need it for like a medium or lower than that. But if you're getting like hard like um lean
I
beef,
have I have seen hamburger ground up like Wagyu hamburger mixed
mm,
with really quality eggs for tartare consumption. If you
uh
don't know what tartare
yeah,
is, that
I
is
do.
raw.
Yeah,
Well, I'm saying for the audience.
oh, yeah, I like beef tartare, but I like beef tartare, but salmon tartare is king of all the tartares.
When anything comes to tartare, it has to be very, very minimal, because too much of the tartare and my body starts freaking out like, what the hell's happening? Why are we consuming so much raw food?
Feels like tartare is like the Russian roulette of food.
A little
Yeah.
bit. So we've seen these pictures before. This is my burger, and you can't really see it in there. So let me do that. Um, this is my homemade burger. This is the one that Coda said she liked best that I've made.
Without anything fancy on it, yes. That's like no salt, no pepper, no seasoning. That's just pure ground beef slapped right into the freaking pan.
Homemade
I'm
pretzel bun.
curious. Based on that bun, how do you get the bun where it looks kind of like there's like a cut in the middle of the bun? How do you do that?
You actually cut the bun.
Oh, so it's actually is just a cut. It's not like
Yeah, you.
Oh.
So what happens is, when you bake bread, you need a place for the gases that's in the bread to escape. Otherwise, it's going to quite literally explode.
brutal.
And because this is supposed to be a pretzel bun, what you do is you mix it in a lye bath, or sodium hydroxide,
All right.
and you let it sit there for a little bit. You pull it out, you put it on your baking sheet. By the point that you have put it on your baking sheet, your oven should already be at least 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And just before you put stuff in to bake, you score each bun down the center, put it in, and let it sit. Generally, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to bake these buns. And normally they come out much darker brown, much closer to a pretzel.
Although she doesn't remember that her solution for the pretzel phase ruins bowls and other freaking utensil devices.
No, I fixed that.
Really? Because my 2 wooden bamboo bowls are not going to be fixed.
those I can't fix.
No, you can't, but you can replace those
Yes, I will replace those. Let's
if we can find them again.
um I'm sure I can find another picture of the burgers. Give me a second here.
So can I like come up and hang out with you guys and eat the burgers because they look really good.
Hey, if you find a way up to Iowa, you are more than free to come up and have some burgers.
I am
We made
hunger.
we made room in the living room with no couch now. We can just start making a little campsite for anybody who comes visit.
I'm gonna hike my way up there. Be like, I hear.
Can I
Just
stalk the campsite like Michael Myers or something?
yes, but only if you kill me and give me an autograph to be buried with.
Sure, I'll just sign it
I'm
with a
a
knife.
I'm a horror fanatic, so I would be more than glad to go out that way.
Oh. On that, who is the best slasher?
Oh my god, hold on. Okay. You
Oh,
are tap dancing into my realm.
Hold up,
Mine
hold up,
too.
hold up, hold up. So this is a proper pretzel bun.
Hold that thought, Dale.
All right.
Damn.
This is a
I want to
Yes.
eat the entire
That
picture.
is one of her much more successful ones, and that's ones that without the salt garnish.
It looks so good.
It
Yeah.
is. It really is. It holds the burger very well. Every bite, it actually has body to it, so it's not just mushed down to soft white bread. It actually has a good bite and bounce to it. So
Cook it with Z says cook it with a blowtorch.
I
not
would love to, but she won't get me one.
I'm not cooking anything with a blowtorch.
I would, but again, she won't get me one.
What about a
Um,
flamethrower?
I want one, but she won't get me one.
Yeah, me too.
No flamethrower,
So
no
it would be fun as
taser.
fuck.
Is that a sauce or is that just ketchup that you have?
That's Arby's sauce.
Oh.
That's store-bought Arby's sauce.
Uh-huh. Oh, on that topic, ketchup on burgers, yay or nay?
Yeah. If you're
Eh,
gonna go with a classic.
Yeah.
It all
Um,
depends on what you're putting on the burger.
An absolute American classic burger comes with a swab of mayonnaise or whatever freaking mayo based freaking sauce that you want to come up with, and
Hmm.
mustard and ketchup. If you
So,
want to go the deluxe, you add the relish.
So
so sorry?
I generally stay away from condiments myself simply because I'm always comparing burgers, learning different flavor profiles so that I can try to imitate and make it better.
This is why I'm the saucy one in the relationship.
Get bacon jelly. Put it on the
so-
burgers.
Kenzie, you mentioned that it depends on what you have on the burger. What are some things that you would say are worthy of ketchup? Like some toppings that you would say are ketchup
Sure.
approved, and some toppings that you would say are ketchup unapproved.
Mayo is not evil. It's just very fatty and against ADHD texture.
I don't know. I'm very weird with how I eat things because when I was young, I had like allergies to every single food in existence. So
God.
I grew up absurdly picky and have like done my work to like, get rid of that. But like for a while, I wouldn't eat ketchup on anything. So I'm like, ew, ketchup.
Someone who would be allergic to as much as you are, you have every right to be picky.
It was
Yeah.
literally there's a restaurant called Portillo's and they make hot dogs. It's like hot dogs, pulled pork, and like ribs are their main things. And the only thing I'd get is a hot dog without a bun, just the dog
Huh.
itself, and that was
Well-
what I lived off of.
What would you like hold it in? Because like you just grasp the
Fork,
hot. Oh,
but yeah, I think ketchup goes really good with like if you do ketchup and barbecue sauce. That's a really
But
Yeah,
good
I
combo.
want the
that's
flamethrower to
true.
burn down the people.
ketchup is a base for a lot of good barbecue sauces.
Yeah,
Ketchup is
So,
also good on meatloaf.
it's
yeah.
it's not meatloaf if it doesn't have ketchup on it.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
though South Carolina, I assume Z would probably disagree, being from South Carolina, about ketchup and barbecue sauce. I know they love their strict vinegar and mustard sauces there.
Mm. Yeah, I like a lot of like the barbecue stuff. That's probably my favorite like burger
What is your
direction to go in.
favorite item on the barbecue? You got a barbecue in front of you. What are you slapping on for your choice?
Oh gosh. Anything spicy. As much spicy
Like
as
hot
possible.
links?
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're a proponent of spiciness then.
I am
Oh,
a
yeah.
bona fide Mexican. I will eat my spicy food and enjoy it.
We are called capsaicin whores. That's what we love.
Yes.
What is the spiciest that have you ever eaten something that you've said is okay, that's too much spice?
California Reaper cheese. Erica fucking laughed because she knew it was gonna happen.
So
Sorry.
there was I went and visited a friend, and he was like like as hillbilly of a family as you can get, right? Out in
Mhm.
like the fucking whatever. And
Yeah.
his sister had got a bottle of like stupidly hot sauce that was like they'd make a whole batch of chili, like a big
Mhm.
thing of chili, and they'd put like 2 drops in it and it would heat the whole thing up. And
wow.
I dipped a toothpick in it and then I licked it off without like any like dilution to it at all, and I almost died. It was really, really spicy.
But it was worth it.
Yes.
No
The
regrets.
worst
None at
part
all.
is I hate milk, so I did it. I
Wow.
couldn't drink milk to calm it down either because I'm like, it's not worth it. I really hate milk.
Go for the next creamy item. Go for the yogurt.
Yeah.
You hate just milk or all dairy based products? Or at least all liquid dairy based products?
I just hate milk.
Milk.
Yeah.
Milk.
Yes.
No,
milk.
we are not bringing him into this. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you
Red
say no,
Eye-
but then we say yes.
I don't care if Red Eye flashes twice. We are not bringing him into this.
Who?
Oh boy.
All I know is someone said milk, so I'm just thinking, are we talking about
that was
someone
me.
milk?
Milk.
What's your milk deal?
There is a YouTuber that I used to watch.
Be like LA Beast.
I can't remember his name. But I can pull him up and I'll show you the video. Okay, so his name is Julian Smith.
Oh darn. I was guessing LA Beast because he does dumb things with milk and spicy stuff.
Let's see.
Oh, so is he one of those YouTubers who like eats really spicy stuff on camera and then reacts to it?
No.
He does that. He also did a video where he submerged himself in ice water so that he could eat a cactus without feeling as much pain.
Interesting,
Huh.
but okay.
That's like doing two very different things that would probably, in general, be the subject of their own videos at once. So I guess for that, I congratulate him.
He was so goofy. I liked his videos a lot.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bring this in.
Hey Donovan, you got anything to drink?
Yeah, in the fridge.
Hey Josh, grab me a glass of milk.
They don't have any milk, but I can
Milk.
get you some milk.
Waiting
Milk,
for it to
milk,
load.
Milk.
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 That's what he just said.
Yeah, I just want some milk.
No, you're saying it wrong. You're saying milk, like it's a disease.
How do you say it?
I'm saying it the way everyone ought to say it. Milk, M-I-L-K.
Right, like 2%.
Right, whole milk.
No. Say milkshake.
Milkshake.
Okay, now say milk.
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 Are you hearing this?
Yeah, the man wants a glass of milk.
Milk.
Now with vitamin R.
Milk.
Milk?
Give him the milk, Josh!
Donovan, inside voices, please.
Sorry, Dad. My white friends.
My white friend.
Josh! Pour me a glass of milk!
Why are you yelling at me?
Just give him the freaking milk!
You guys aren't even saying the same thing!
We're all saying milk, Josh!
No, you're saying milk! You're saying Shut up! Shut up!
Better put it down, Josh!
Don't do it, Josh!
You're gonna shoot me if I shoot myself? That doesn't make any
America.
sense!
America.
Josh, put it down! Put it
America.
down!
Put your guns away!
Josh, put it down now!
This gets really stupid.
You mean
Yes.
it already isn't?
It gets even
Everything
more
so far is
stupid.
made. Everything so far.
I'm going to kill myself over this! You're like a brother to me! Put the gun down! Your hand is like a brother to me! And then, after that, we pull the trigger. All of us.
No, we are not filming something like that.
Why not?
It's so dark. I don't know. No. Josh, I didn't call you back, man. I'm really busy.
Wow.
The poor
That's-
cat, no.
That is where I was going with all of it.
Oh, bullshit.
Mal.
Mulk.
Milk.
Mal.
Nah.
I posted LA Beast in the YouTube links. You don't have to watch it now, because I'm pretty sure it's a long video. But I'm pretty sure he also like eats like a spicy pepper before he does the cactus as well. So he's like
Ugh.
in an ice bucket with like his mouth burning off.
Okay, so he's doing 3 separate things in which would generally be the main focus of their own React videos at once. I have to give that guy some credit.
Yeah.
But yes. Oh, and as Stoner just asked me, what's the deal with Canadians and bagged milk? Look, I don't know if you don't have bagged milk in the U.S., but bagged milk is very useful. Right?
I know it
If
is.
so long as you get a proper pitcher to put the bagged milk in, it is noticeably cheaper than as a milk delivery system than cartoned milk or or like one of those glass bottles of milk, and you get a lot of it. So if you like milk and you have room in your fridge for a pitcher of milk, bagged milk is the way to go. Just a big like plastic bag full of milk.
It's like going to India for a bag of Fanta.
Exactly.
That's not racist as hell either, because it actually is true. They just hand them in a bag. I'm like, hey, I'm down.
I feel bad for all of the milkmen who lost their jobs.
Yeah, they could be delivering bags of milk. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind. I wouldn't mind having a bag of milk handed to me by a milkman.
I'm gonna revive the milkman job.
Just so long as they stay away from our significant others. All right. I know what
wanna-
those milkmen are getting up to, behind our backs. So
Uh,
Nah,
so given all of that, and given that the main topic of today is food, apparently I have started the Pizza Wars of 2023 by posting this picture. Let me pull it up for
God
everyone.
damn it. It's gonna take freaking forever.
Yeah, so I posted this picture in one of the group chats that I'm in, along with one of my buffalo style pizzas, which is just a pan pizza or a granny style pizza. which is similar to a Detroit style pizza where, you know, so Detroit style is in a cast iron pan, and you've got your dough, you've got your cheese on top, then you've got lines of sauce, and then you've got your other toppings. Yes, Z, I will make a 3-meat pizza, just not right now. I'm currently fermenting the dough.
What
Nice.
meats would you use on a 3-meat pizza?
Pepperoni, sausage, and bacon.
The 3 best ones.
You can do pepperoni, sausage, ground beef. I pretty much stay away from ground beef these days. When it comes to pizza, doesn't pair well with a heavily pork pizza.
All right.
But because I posted this and the other picture, I apparently started Pizza Wars because there are people within the chat group that like pineapple on pizza.
Terrible.
Huh.
And it went beyond that because someone started posting pictures of someone on Twitter that apparently likes kiwi on pizza.
Oh,
The fuck?
what the heck?
Even
Burn
the
it.
Serbian is disgusted.
I mean, you got San Francisco with their broccoli pizza. So,
Terrible.
Oh yeah, that was brought up too.
and then you got, I think it's New Jersey with their baked bean pizza.
So I am going to both disgust and amaze you all with this.
Dale likes pineapple and
this-
kiwi on his pizza.
No, with this
Yes.
amazing concept for a pizza.
Ew.
All right.
Whiskey.
No, but poutine pizza.
That would be pretty fucking good.
that sounds amazing.
It's a thing. Poutine pizza.
I
Can I just
think,
get the poutine first?
Yes.
I think the weirdest pizza
What?
I've made homemade was like a breakfast pizza. I made the dough like all
No!
from
God damn
scratch,
it.
and then I put the stuff we put on pancakes, syrup. I put maple syrup
Maple.
on it,
All right.
and then I put
Awesome.
pieces of sausage, and I put chunks of bread, the breakfast bread, French bread, and that was the pizza.
Country fried steak pizza, biscuits and gravy.
Yes.
The biscuit is the crust, and then you got your bits of fried chicken and your freaking gravy and maybe some freaking country style potatoes on top. I've seen it. I really wanted to try it, but there was nothing that looked fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make your dough, Kenzie?
Oh gosh, it was my mom who like had the recipe. I think it's just like the most basic activated yeast, sugar, salt, and flour. I don't
And
think there's
water.
anything. Yeah, and water. I don't think there's anything special about it.
I actually add a little bit of fat to my doughs, just so that they'll maintain moisture a little bit better for longer. Because who likes tough pizza, tough cold pizza? I know I
Yeah.
don't.
So what are your opinions on, say, thick crust pizza compared to thin crust pizza? Do you like a thicker pizza or a more thinner? Like, do you like a Chicago style thick pizza, or do you like a more New York style thin pizza?
It depends on what kind of toppings you're putting on it.
Let's say it is just a plain margarita or just cheese. So as plain of a pizza as possible. What is your preference for that?
It needs to be thinner.
My preference is going to be, if it's going to be a massive amount of toppings, the thicker crust, because then it's going to hold it a little bit better. But if you're going to go for something thin, like a Mexican pizza, not like an actual Mexican pizza, but like the Taco Bell kind of style stuff, you're going to want the thinner crust. 'cause that's what it's meant for.
Taco Bell has pizzas.
It
Yeah.
has something called a pizza, but it's not really a pizza. It's
a
just
tortilla with a bunch of toppings.
yeah. It's just yeah.
Oh.
God damn it!
Now there are places out there that make what are called taco pizzas.
Huh.
Not a huge fan.
There's a Midwest joint called Happy Joe's that makes St. Louis tavern style pizza.
Mhm.
And it's so St. Louis tavern pizza is basically just your pizza dough. It's rolled out, it's cut into a round shape, and then you put your toppings on, you throw it into the oven. For the taco pizza, they use taco sauce, and they also use tortilla chips.
Doritos.
Yeah, sometimes Doritos, like if
Casey's.
Casey's. I know Papa John's has done a taco pizza once or twice. But they don't do it tavern style. Tavern style pizzas are rare and sort of specialized. You pretty much almost always have to go to a tavern to get a tavern style pizza. And tavern style pizzas vary across the country. There's New York tavern style, there's Chicago tavern style, St. Louis tavern style, there's Washington tavern style. They all have their different different ways of making their pizzas. And then there's the New Haven tavern style pizza, which it has been a big thing ever since Happy Days.
Hey.
Yeah, and their style of tavern pizza is quite similar to New York style pizza, but it's really friggin' misshapen. It's all boxy, and that's kind of the signature shape of New Haven style pizza. But it is another tavern style pizza.
All right. Oh, and something Stoner said in the chat that I wanted to address. So he asked basically if sushi pizza was a thing, and it is. It's also a complete abomination. And I say this as someone who loves sushi and who loves pizza. It is an abomination.
You say that, and yet you're starting fight words with certain people.
Yes. It is absolute. At least every version of it I've seen has been absolutely horrifying. I will post some pictures in the chat to show you what I mean.
I will go ahead and I will open up the chat so that I can see. And it better not be that disgusting. It is that disgusting.
I mean, you were freaking warned, but no, you had to go and look.
All right, I posted it now. There we go. The one I posted earlier, that was poutine pizza.
That's disgusting.
Sushi.
She would hate that anyways because she hates gravy.
I have never known a single human being who hates
this
gravy.
one. It's this human being, the one in the purple hair with the Nico ears. It's that
So
one.
wait, you don't
all
eat
gravy?
biscuits and gravy?
All gravy.
Nope.
Any gravy.
Like, okay.
No
That's
gravy. No, nothing at
unacceptable.
all.
It doesn't work with me.
It's a texture thing. I would have to get it literally Master Chef silky smooth for her to even consider it.
Man, texture stuff is the worst because like you can't really do anything about it.
Yep.
Is it that you dislike like thicker like sauces, or is it like
It's so when Coda says it's a texture thing, we're quite literally talking about uh the texture difference between the potatoes or whatever I'm eating it with and the the gravy itself.
It's just too much. It's overstimulating. I would have to nullify the texture of the gravy pretty much.
Huh.
That sucks because I think I've perfected my gravy recipe for biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy, that's more of a white gravy, right? It's not like
Yeah.
it's
Biscuits
more
and gravy is made from the biddies from the sausage.
yeah.
That
Isn't
flour
that
and
more of
heavy
like
cream.
isn't that more of like a bechamel sauce than a gravy?
No.
No, it is a
No?
gravy. It's the consistency of gravy. That's why it is, and you put it
Ah.
over like gravy.
Right.
It's not like a hollandaise sauce.
So
Yeah.
a bechamel requires a roux to be made before you add cheese. When you're making sausage gravy, that's what it's called. You actually cook the sausage, and then it's not delaminate.
Deglaze.
Yes, you deglaze the pan that you're making the gravy in, and then you add flour.
Ah.
And that's why it's white to begin with, because or a darker white, I should say, because you're using the fats from the gravy and you're mixing it in with all of the flour and that water, and it's thickening everything up.
Or you use milk, which is what I use for it.
You use milk to deglaze?
I use heavy cream.
Yeah.
Or
Heavy cream.
So you don't use any form of alcohol to deglaze the
Nope.
pan?
No.
Nope.
No.
You don't need to. I deglaze with either heavy milk if I'm making a sauce, or if I'm just trying to get all the nice tasty bitties off of the bottom, like for my dogs, I'll use broth.
Right.
But
I tend to deglaze with whiskey just because I like whiskey.
not everything I eat can be made with whiskey. I mean,
I
am a lightweight.
Well, it depends. You just switch out if you changed everything you eat to just whiskey, then yes, it could.
Hey Dale,
Yeah.
you just reminded me. I bought a barbecue sauce, and it's literally with whiskey. It says barbecue sauce with whiskey.
Very nice. Whiskey barbecue sauces are good.
Yes, it's
So long as
amazing.
it's not that
Barbecue.
terrible Canadian whiskey. It's
I don't think so.
terrible.
This is an abomination. This
At
is an
least it looks
abomination, Stoner.
appetizing.
The
Welcome to a California thing right there.
Yeah.
You can find that in any bougie freaking pizza sushi place, or just any Actually, there's actual restaurants just bougie.
Further proof that it will be a net good when California finally sinks into the sea.
If we can
all the
just-
proof you need right there.
If we can just take away some of the better parts of California, then yeah, we can just chip away the entire state and push it into the islands.
I mean, all I'm saying is that all the problem areas can be dealt with global warming.
No, we need a new plague.
Yes.
We need another
We
plague.
need to pump out as much carbon as humanly possible until California finally vanishes.
Take
No,
Florida
see,
along
you-
with it. I just need to get out, and then I'll be good.
You drop a
Yeah.
nuke on the fault line and just let California sink into the Pacific.
Amen.
No, that's a waste of nukes, Stoner. All you need is one nuke right on the fault line. That's it.
And you can save the other nukes for the Sahara Desert.
Irradiate the scorpions.
If,
Speaking of weapons of war, apparently, people think that 3D printed firearms are illegal in the country, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, they're illegal in my country,
Based.
unfortunately, but again, everything is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Terrible country.
you've got Trudeau, so
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
Castro Jr. Justin Castro.
He's
over
my
there.
favorite black ruler.
Yes.
Are we talking about SCP-049?
Yo, SCP-049.
Uh,
That guy.
Slave
no,
Doctor?
no.
Yeah.
Um.
Plague Doctors are so cool.
Oh god, yeah.
So when did Justin Trudeau follow in the path of Rachel Dolezal?
I believe the early 2000s were when most of those pictures were from.
Okay.
When he was just a rich trust fund baby, like doing the things that the rich trust fund babies do. You know, partying, backpacking through
racist.
Europe. Yeah. Profiting off his father's name and so forth.
What the heck is this on this pizza? This
Bean?
looks disgusting.
All right, so what you have there is obviously starting off with a bed of seaweed. And
Yeah.
inside, I can guarantee you, is probably a salmon
Yeah.
or a light-colored tuna, which is not compared to
Yeah,
the same orange tuna that you see on the main part there.
And
And
actually, yeah, that is definitely a salmon pepperoni.
yeah,
It's
that
not
the redder meat is salmon.
Yeah.
That would be a spicy mayo sauce drizzle. There is fish eggs underneath all of those, and those little green things are lima beans, drizzled
Why-
with some sesame seeds.
Why lima beans?
Because that's just the vegetable they chose. They're freaks of nature, and I do not agree with them.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, looking at the bottom slice, that does look more tuna-y.
The
That
bottom
bottom
slice
one-
looks edible. Like, I would eat that.
I do believe the bottom one has crushed up ramen on top of rice with a. That is not pepperoni, I guarantee you that much.
Yeah.
But probably a tomato puree kind of sort,
Yeah.
maybe.
Crushed up ramen.
I-
You gotta get that
yeah.
roughage in.
I
Yep.
will say ramen does not belong on sushi. It should be a separate thing. I don't know why they chose to humiliate that sushi as they did. But
I could be
ramen is not
totally
a-
wrong, but that is my guess based
I
on
mean,
what I've
yeah,
seen
no,
before.
I mean, it does look like it, which is why I'm saying it's there, but it shouldn't be there.
I just don't want anybody in the audience being like, these people don't know their sushi. You're damn right I don't. You're
I know
damn
my-
right.
I know my sushi.
But if you slap
I eat
something
too
down
much
with
of it.
tentacles on it, I'm gonna call it that's either a squid or an octopus, and I eat both.
Same.
Squid is good, as well
Oh
as
god,
octopus.
squid and octopus are delicious.
I remember wanting to try it so badly. My parents were like, "No, you're just gonna hate it because you
And
hate
then
everything."
you start chowing down, and they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god!"
I tried it. I'm like, this is
They-
amazing. And my parents were like, you won't even fucking eat like pudding. Why are you eating tentacles? I'm like, I don't know.
I did the
They-
same thing on my grandmother and my aunt, and they handed me a beet, and they said, "Here, you can go back to the buffet if you eat this beet." I'm like, pop in my mouth, and I start walking away.
They
Okay.
Oh god.
One thing to note: squid and octopus do have a chewy texture, but they
Yeah.
taste really good. So if you don't like things that are chewy, you probably won't like squid or octopus, but they taste great. You just have to put up with the chewing.
So this is my buffalo style pizza.
Ooh. That looks really tasty.
That's my normal pizza dough. This is what I started out with. It's just a pan pizza. Started out with normal dough. Added my own sauce. It's got pepperoni, bacon, and sausage. Got some pizza blend cheese and some mozz. and that's what we ate for a while. But it's extremely carb heavy. Um, the toppings do not go very far down inside the pizza.
You mentioned you have a pizza blend cheese. What is that? Is that
It's a Walmart pre-shredded cheese.
Oh.
I do have.
Is it like a
plans-
mix of cheeses, or is it just a
Yeah,
single type of cheese?
It's a mix of cheeses.
The Mexican blend.
Do you know
As
what
a little
cheeses
Mexican
it's
in
a
the
mix
drawer.
of?
I don't know.
Erica, a little Mexican in the drawer.
We are not bringing that. We are not bringing that joke.
What
up,
was the other
okay?
one we came up with?
I don't remember.
God damn it. That was a golden piece of material and we never will remember it again. Oh, I think it was like a little Italian in the cabinet.
Hey, Molly, question for you. Would you try a pizza made with Trappist cheese?
Yes,
That would be an interesting
it would be
pizza.
delicious.
Yeah, a little side note, back when I was in Serbia with Molly, got hooked on this cheese that's called Trappist cheese. It's made by Trappist monks in like France or something. Very good, very underrated cheese. Hard to find back here in the West.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can I showcase Nova's pretzel thing she made? It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Most likely. And yeah, that's the cheese. Trappist cheese.
That
Yes.
looks
For a
tasty.
while we subsisted on you could get a really cheap baguette back there, like 70 cents for a full baguette. You then put what was that meat called again, Molly? The thing I keep asking you about?
Izvednička salama, which means like let me just think. It's like
What is it? Ilanitska?
yeah, izvednička,
Oh yeah,
which means
Ilanitska
like
salam.
you know when you go out on a field day, it's like
Yeah,
field
it's like
day
a field
salami.
trip. Yeah, I think you
Yes.
said it was field trip salami. Yeah, which
Yes.
again, I've hunted for this everywhere I can and can't find this, which is annoying. But yeah, you put the Ilanitska salama on the baguette, then wedges of Trappist cheese, slide it in the oven, let the cheese melt, and that's a damn delicious meal.
Wait, is that it?
Yep, that's
Or-
it. No idea what
Yeah.
it's made of because I assume all recipes are in Serbian, and I've been
No,
hunting that down for a
You
long
see
ass time.
the one you're hovering above? It looks like that.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
this is what's called soprasada.
But it's not that wide. It's like circular, like the one to the left.
Like this
Yeah,
one?
that one. Yes.
Yeah. Soprasada is kind of like a mix between pepperoni and salami.
Would you mind spelling that out in the chat just so I can have? I'm gonna take a look and see if that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm serious. I have been looking for this for a while because it's quite good.
So soprasada is very big, especially among Puerto Rican communities. I got hooked on it with my ex-wife. We went to a family reunion one year, and that's quite literally what they served for a snack was soprasada. And you don't really eat it with anything else. I love it on sandwiches because it's like that nice mix between salami and pepperoni. You got a little bit of spicy, but it's very mild generally, and it's very hard to get in the northeastern region of the U.S. At least from an actual deli, because they cannot get their hands on the meats to make soprasada. And when they do, it's very expensive and it goes very fast.
Yeah.
Dale, can we make that?
Probably if you have the correct grinders and stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's cured meat.
Mhm.
Also, do you guys like the pretzel?
Yes, that was nice, but it doesn't really look like a pretzel.
I know it was like I
It's
don't
like
know.
bread.
Yeah,
Or
but
some sort of
you made it
bread-based product.
into a you are and a heart, and then the wrong one.
It
Very
looks like
nice.
you're saying that you like teeth.
And I've
And
I've got it
this
on the
big
screen for everyone.
chunk, the big chunks of salt is Himalayan salt, but like it was a bit too salty.
A little
So
bit.
it looks like what Nova did was she used baking soda.
Yeah,
And baking soda is a good substitute for just if you want to get a little bit of a pretzel flavor. If you want to get a full flavor and you don't want to boil the um the baking soda, you need to get what's called sodium hydroxide. And
Hmm.
sodium hydroxide is not very dissimilar from from baking soda. Baking soda baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, and sodium hydroxide is quite literally sodium bicarbonate undergone a chemical conversion through the baking process.
Mind you, one of these chemicals that she's mentioned is legal to have in your house, but is lethal if you ingest it in any kind of way.
Yes,
Yum.
sodium hydroxide is lye, Lye.
That's used to dissolve bodies, isn't it?
It can
Isn't
be,
that like
yes.
bleach?
Yeah, I guess it's a meme, but that's like the thing you see in movies. People like you put someone in a bathtub and dump lye all over
Oh,
them, and they dissolve.
Yeah.
well, there's
Yeah.
there's
But only when it's wet. You can handle lye when it's dry and be perfectly fine. But as soon
Yes.
as water gets on it, you're fucked.
yes, which is why when you're doing stuff to make pretzels, if you're going to use sodium hydroxide, you put the water in first, and then you whisk in the sodium hydroxide. Otherwise, it'll splash, and you will start fucking yourself up.
But if you want to be smarter, wear gloves. Please wear gloves.
I had no idea that pretzels were made with fucking lye. Of all
Yes,
things. It's
and
insane.
You've been lied to.
and
Nicely done.
it's it's something that we've been using for thousands of fucking years. Someone one day just dipped their bread in a lye bath, put it in their fucking stone oven, and out came a pretzel.
It had to have been like
How high were they when they did that?
They were probably pretty drunk.
they were
I can
probably
probably-
doing it for preservation reasons.
They were also probably not a baker, but probably a chemist or a
Eh,
scientist of some sort. Because scientists come up with more food progress in how things are made and how things can be made better using substitute ingredients. It's not always a person in the kitchen intending to make some kind of new bread revelation. It's a scientist who just said, I'm going to use this blob of gluten and see what happens. Oh, hey, look. I wonder if it's edible.
Now,
Somebody
see,
get the testing subject.
what happens is you go ahead, you put it in the lye bath, you throw it in your oven, and all of that sodium hydroxide just kind of steams away, and it leaves this dark brown sheen on it. That's quite literally how I got that pretzel bun to look so dark, was lye.
What happens to the consistency of dough when you submerge it in this lye bath? Does it stay roughly the same, or does it like change?
The internal stays the same, because what you do is you're building, when you're making dough, you're building a skin on the top,
Hmm.
and you don't you don't want to rip the skin that you're making. So most people that make dough, they'll go through several steps of, say, stretch and folds, which is very common for making sourdough.
Mhm.
And every time you do a stretch and fold, you're layering gluten on top of itself, and you're making it stronger. So what happens is you have a skin on the top that's that's several layers thick. And when you put it in the lye bath, you're quite literally just coating the top part of that skin. It's not going to get anywhere else in that dough. It's just going to be on the skin of the dough.
Hmm. If I ever make dough, I should try that. Sounds good.
What if you dip dough in like whiskey or something?
I should try that too. I like whiskey.
Yeah.
I do not know. I have not tried it. I would not want to try it personally.
You would probably get a weird fermentation.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting because like beer is basically liquid bread, and whiskey is basically distilled beer. So you'd be dipping the dough into. You'd be dipping the thing they used to turn into bread into the thing that was distilled into the thing that was distilled from the thing that's basically liquid bread. So
Well,
it'd be some weird recursive monstrosity.
baker's yeast in and of itself came from beer fermentation.
Right.
Because it had a very quick activation. It consumed sugars extremely efficiently. It doesn't work well with starches. If you want something that works well with starches, you need to make your own sourdough starter, which is wild yeast. You cultivate that yeast on your own. There is no yeast that you can buy from the store to make sourdough.
Oh, there isn't?
No.
Hmm.
Sourdough depends on a process of you handling flour and water, and you mix it up, and there's bacteria and yeast that gets into the flour.
Oh.
And by adding water, you're giving it a pathway to start to consume these starches and sugars that there are in the flour. And the more you do this, the more you feed it by adding more flour and water, the more proficient it becomes at consuming the starches and the sugars in the flour, to the point
Right.
where at some point it will just start rising on its own efficiently. And at that point you can start making sourdough bread, because there's two different bacteria that thrive in this environment. Lactobacilli and I can't remember the other one, but these both produce a type of acid. The lactobacilli quite literally create lactic acid.
Ah.
And so all of that artisan sourdough that you see online,
Mhm.
they've cultivated their sourdough starters to produce high amounts of lactobacilli. Let me look this up. Artisan sourdough. Images. All right. So pulling it up.
Let's see.
and
So
it's
I'm curious. I've never actually had sourdough, but how sour is it? Is it just in the name, or is it actually a sour bread?
It's just in the name.
Oh.
no, it's not just in the name. It actually can be sour. It depends on the type of starter you use. So a dry starter will yield something a little bit more sour than, say, something that has a wet starter.
Mhm.
So,
And what is meant by a dry or a wet starter?
so it's the ratio at which you are combining the flour and water.
I see.
Something that has a bit more flour than water is going to be a dry starter. Something that has a bit more water than flour is going to be a wet starter. And then a normal starter is a 1-to-1. So you've got 1 part flour, 1 part water. And that means it has 100% hydration. And tipping the scales either way makes it either dry or wet. Most people that use wet starters, they cultivate a little bit more of a nutty flavor because the other bacteria, not the lactose bacilli, but whatever the other one is, I can't remember its name. It produces an acid that tastes kind of like a nut, whereas you use the dry starter, it produces more lactose bacilli. Both of these acids actually break down the gluten in the bread, and that's where these holes come from. And because you've been layering gluten on top of itself over and over before you baked it, you have all of this really thick crust on the outside, and you've got all of these nice air pockets. The holes in here are created because of that acid breaking down the gluten, and then during the baking process, that steam gets trapped into those holes, and it inflates it.
Do you have a preference for either wet or dry or normal dough?
I
Or
Well, when
sort of?
it comes to a starter, I just use a normal 1-to-1.
Mhm.
I've been having some issues with my sourdough starter. I have not been able to get my loaves to rise, which kind of sucks. I need to take it back to the drawing board and start again, maybe.
I see.
So hungry right now.
Well, of course, we've dedicated an hour to just pure food discussion.
Yum.
It would make anyone hungry.
Which means that I need to get off the topic of foods.
Yeah.
Because
And actually, if I could just take a quick side topic for like 5 minutes, would that be all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Kota.
Man.
Best of the mainstream slashers and best slasher overall.
Okay,
First of
mainstream slasher.
when I say mainstream, I mean the big three, right? Jason, Freddy, and Michael.
And Michael, yeah.
Of course. Like, why would you say Michael?
Okay, well, Michael has its own story plot value to it from what I can remember. These were all movies that were more popular before I was actually kind of able to get into horror stuff.
Mhm.
So by the time I got around to it, things have definitely changed. But if we're going back to when these were made and how popular they were in the time. Definitely Michael was a classic story plot. Apparently it had an actual story to it. There was more than just a serial killer with a backstory coming to kill people because fuck the world. From what I remember, He had an actual reasoning. The second one was Jason. He had the next backstory that actually was a story, but it kind of just cut off to why he was slashing all these freaking counselors because they did him dirty in the past.
Yeah.
There's no reason other than just revenge, and it doesn't matter because it's not even the same people, it's just new people. So, out of those three top guys, my favorite would definitely have to be respect for the good old man, Freddy Krueger. He is just a respectable legend all on his own. He doesn't have to have a storyline. He just has his backstory. And he just fucks people up because, well, you crossed his path and you fucked with him. You fucked around and found out.
Yeah. I would say out of the three, the best is Michael for one simple reason. In all of the Halloween and all of the Friday the 13th and all of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, Jason is defeated at the end, Freddy is defeated at the end, Michael is just hurt and wanders off. He is never actually stopped. He just gets hurt and wanders off and escapes. Whereas the other two always get defeated at the end, only to be brought back later.
But just because the school bully kicks you and your friend's ass doesn't make them the superior one. It just makes him the one who won.
True, but then that's what I mean. Michael's the only one who has not actually ever lost. He always just gets away, and because of that, I have to say I think he is the overall the better slasher of the three. Though I do love me some Freddy Krueger as well. Krueger's definitely he's the most entertaining slasher.
Like I said, there's just a warm respect for him. I don't have like the details of a professional fan, so I can't really defend in a logical, like, you can't defeat these reasons, my man. No, it's just pure opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
but yeah, as far as Universal best of both worlds all combined, I could agree with that. I can definitely agree. I'm still gonna go with my second favorite is Jason, just because I simp.
Yeah. Agreed. They're all great. They're all great. This is not a shitting on any of them. They're all wonderful. And to that point, would you say you have out of the big three? Would you say there's best overall? Are there any other non-big three slashers that you'd say are the GOAT?
Well, ones that aren't the original top three. I would love to give Scream a shout out, but he's just not in there.
Yeah,
he's more pop culture.
Yeah, and he is technically a different person each time. He's not just one guy. It's always someone else. Yeah. Would you have any other of note?
My favorite all times, and this one is even going to top the classic ones because we're going to go outside of classic titles. Chucky. He is my favorite. I literally I would love to have him come at me, but I would just drop kick the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Pennywise is a great call, but I prefer him more for the actor that played him, Tim Curry, more than actually do the story plot.
Do you mean the original Pennywise?
Yes, the original.
Yeah.
Yes, the original. We're talking about as original as we can get, if not if we know the names, the black and white versions.
Yeah. All right, and I'm gonna say, so this is a bit of a dark horse slasher, but I'm gonna say the GOAT, the all-time greatest slasher of all time, in my personal opinion, is Angela from the Sleepaway Camp series. She has some of the most brutal kills out of all of every slasher I've seen. The kill count in her kill count per movie is just astronomical, and she does the one thing that all the other slasher films are afraid to do. She fucking kills 10-year-olds and shit, and brutally as well. And in my opinion, she is the GOAT, especially not as much the first, but especially the Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, best slasher movies I've ever seen.
Well,
as a side, they're also comedies as well.
Well, taking in the kill count that you were praising about, I googled it just real quick. The most iconic horror villains and killers that have the highest kill count, and can you guess the number one?
I think it would have
the classics.
Yeah, I think it would have to be Jason.
Nope.
Is it Michael Myers?
Nope. You just named
Oh,
number
Fred.
2 and number 3.
Really? Freddy has the most.
Nope. I said of the classics, not the classics.
Oh.
So we got to go outside of. Nope, not Chucky. It's Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Really?
Pinhead from Hellraiser franchise with over 321 kills. Jason has over 163 kills in the franchise. Friday the 13th. Michael Myers 160. Coming in fourth, The Invisible Man with 122 victims.
Oh. Those are some surprising ones, especially Pinhead, because out of all the big slasher franchises, he has like the least amount of movies, so like the least time to get.
But that's why it's fascinating to talk about what kind of department of horror praise are we going, because if you tweak the factors just a little bit, somebody comes in first a little bit every time.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the highest fan base would probably be Freddy or Michael, I'm probably going to think.
Probably.
I think Jason would be a good runner-up, but like I said, that's more of the simp community.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way. I guess I could put it this way. Jason is... I mean, he's kind of like the standard that you hold all the others up to, right? Jason is... If we were talking about death metal, Jason would be the Cannibal Corpse of slashers, right?
Yeah,
he is the standard bearer for what a good slasher should be. So I would think that I mean I would guess that he'd definitely be at least number 2. Freddy is out of out of the classics. Freddy's kind of the dark horse of the three. He's a bit. Everyone who's seen the movies loves him, but he's, I think, the lesser known out of the 3 to the normies out there.
I would probably say that if anything, Freddy was probably the grandfather of horror. He probably paved the way, and then the horror fanatics after that just kind of picked it up, modified it, and made their own horror, storylines and everything. But if anything, Freddy should be honored as kind of the father, or at least the group of fathers of horror and stuff, kind of like the mothers of monsters.
Yeah. Oh, and I just realized there's one glaring omission we have made. Speaking of the classic kind of horror slasher types, there is a man who had, this is more of a protagonist than a slasher, who had to once remove his own hand and replace it with a chainsaw. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about.
I'm actually playing him right now.
Oh, nice. The man, the myth, the legend, Ashley Williams from the Evil Dead series.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No, I have not, but you did remind me of another one that's similar, but not quite the chainsaw to the hand.
So, if you are a fan of horror, you have to watch the Evil Dead series. It is phenomenal. At some point, I really do recommend you boot it up. It is one of the greatest things you will ever see.
This is my boomstick.
Yes.
So, Dale, the one that I was thinking of that you were reminding me, instead of the chainsaw to the hand, it's actually an assault rifle to her leg. Rose McGrowan's freaking Grindhouse.
Grindhouse. It was
Quentin Tarantino.
It was Death something was the car one, and I can't remember the zombie one with Rose McGowan. I should know this, and I am putting myself to great shame by not knowing this off the top of my head, as any good horror fan should.
The Rose
it's not Death Wish.
Yeah. No, but it is Grindhouse. That's Rose McGowan Zombie House.
I'm gonna look this up because it's gonna drive me crazy.
And I'm going to cut
so
you off.
The Rose McGowan one was Planet Terror, and the car one was Death Proof. And for those of you who don't know, Grindhouse was a movie made by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. It was actually 2 movies. It was the Robert Rodriguez one was Planet Terror, and the Quentin Tarantino one was Death Proof. And yes, Planet Terror was the Robert Rodriguez one with the girl with the rifle leg. I think she was like the stripper with the rifle leg.
Yes, she is a stripper.
Yeah.
Rose McGowan.
McGowan.
Great movie.
McGowan.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck her name is.
Now we are getting off of slasher films and the horrible film making of Quentin Tarantino.
Shut up, woman.
Blasphemy.
Silence you in
Listen,
your ways.
the two worst filmmakers I have ever seen, Quentin Tarantino and M. Night Shyamalan. Okay?
I can agree with you on one of them, but
anyways,
a topic for another time.
Yes, topic for another time. We'll go down that path maybe next week. Now, I woke up this morning to something posted a couple days ago, and anyone who's been paying attention to politics has probably heard of gays against groomers.
No.
You
Okay.
haven't? Oh,
Gay-
anyone who's paying attention to politics and Twitter, because it is a Twitter account. So, and I know Molly, you're not much. I'm pretty sure you don't have a Twitter and don't pay attention to Twitter.
Yeah,
So-
no.
You
So
should leave now while you still can. Remain here.
Yes,
So,
that
gays-
you should avoid that hive of scum and villainy known as
Gays-
Twitter.
Gays Against Groomers was started by a lesbian. I do not remember her name. I believe it was something along the lines of Michelle. And apparently they are, according to this announcement, they are going to have a few of their trucks outside of Pride Fests in major cities next month. And they want people to help fund them. But what's on them is no child is born in the wrong body, stop trans and gay youth. Which, in and of itself, is a horrible conflation of what the fuck is going on. I think most rational people would agree that we need to stop transitioning youth, at least until they reach the age at which they can start making decisions based on risk, which in most
Yes.
states in this country is the age of 16. At which point, they have a bit more control of their bodies. I mean, that's the age at which most people in this country can start having sex legally.
Mhm.
But the whole idea of no child is born in the wrong body. I'm sorry, but I definitely felt like I was in the wrong body my entire life. And I certainly did not like men throughout my entire teenage years. Now, people like Ben Shapiro are going to tell you that, well, you liked female, or you felt female because of the things you watched. Really? Because watching old school Star Trek with some of the most quintessential male role models ever made me want to be a woman?
Well, of course, you were watching George Takei.
Well, George Takei would make anyone want to be a woman, because I don't know anyone that would want to touch that. That man is just a walking meme. Walking
Yeah.
meme. Hello. But I had brought this up in one of the chat groups that I'm in, and it's definitely along the same lines as what what Michael Malice had said, eradicating gender ideology.
You mean Michael Owens, not Michael Malice?
Yeah, no, not Michael Owens.
Oh no, Michael Knowles.
Knowles.
Yes, Michael Knowles. Sorry, Michael
It's all right.
Knowles was talking about eradicating gender ideology, and to an extent, I understand what he means. But as we've spoken about before, he needs to be extremely careful with his rhetoric. People who are already on the edge of extremes are listening to him and saying things such as he's said is going to start causing people to act upon those extreme beliefs. And Gays Against Groomers, they're definitely cultivating right-wing gay people into believing that all trans people are pedophiles and all trans people believe that transitioning youth is a good thing. And we don't. The transgender / transsexual communities are not a monolith, and we should not be treated as such. But Stoner had brought up a good point when I had posted this picture in the chat, that that the person in charge of this organization does seem to be upset about trans females or trans women in particular. They always go after trans women whenever they're arguing at someone, and their behavior is quite similar to Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder when it comes to trans people, especially trans people like Blair White. And Blair actually came out about this a couple years ago, how she stopped interacting with Steven Crowder because of the way she was treated by him. It was from what I remember very much so a, oh well, you're cool but you're the only one sort of thing, and then started talking shit behind her back.
Well, I think at this point we can kind of conclude that Steven Crowder is just kind of a general piece of shit.
Oh yes,
Regardless of the Blair stuff, it's just he's a scumbag. He records his supposed friends. He abused his ex-wife, and so forth, and
emotionally,
treats his treats his employees like utter shit. So I wouldn't say necessarily just emotionally, because in that video he did allegedly while he backed off and realized what he did was wrong. I'm guessing he did kind of say, "I'm gonna f you up" to her. So I think it did kind of cross a bit more than emotion. Not necessarily, he's not necessarily physically abusing her, but threatening her.
Yeah, there's definitely verbal abuse. Verbal abuse kind of goes hand in hand with emotional abuse.
Yeah.
And someone could argue that my joking about leaving Coda would be emotional abuse and verbal abuse, though she knows I would never do it.
Yeah. Oh, I think if it's a joke and she laughs alongside it, I would say then yeah, it's a joke. Everyone knows it's a joke, so that would not be in any way abuse.
I want to say hey to Trey. Trey came on to cheer on Kenzie.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Trey. I'm not sure I know you, but hello.
He's one of my Twitter oomfies.
Yes.
Cat videos.
Because
if you don't mind me asking, what's his Twitter handle? Just I'm curious if I know him or not.
Just type it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need to be doxing people here.
That's true.
Here you go.
Yeah, I don't think I know him, but
Yeah.
nice to meet you, Trey.
It's kind of weird that I'm a part of this circle, I think, on Twitter pretty much, and then I'm a part of like completely different circles that like nobody else knows anybody a part of. I feel like I'm in such a wide net of communities.
Me too. I mean, so my Twitter circle is very bizarre. Just if I go off on this for like a minute, like there are three groups of people that are in my Twitter circle. Number one is like trans gun rights activists. That's the one
Nice.
that I'm closest to. Number two is Orthodox Christians.
Fuck.
Number three is chess people. Those are like my three circles, and they sometimes intertwine, but they're mostly very away from each other.
That explains why you like me.
So I have a question here.
Yeah.
Why is Ron DeSantis in Iowa?
Campaigning.
Probably.
Oh,
But
he's got a political action committee, and I guess they're fundraising here in Iowa. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I was ready for the Trump rally in Iowa today. Seriously?
Yeah. I heard there was some like it was canceled for some like tornado warnings or something.
Yeah.
Did any of you see his CNN town hall?
No.
Which town hall?
He had a CNN town hall like a couple days ago.
I
it was
heard
this.
about it.
Trump is a funny guy, and he was still Trump on that. He's very entertaining. And he said some really good things about the current war in Ukraine. But other than that, just standard Trump stuff. If you find him funny, you'd enjoy it. If not, you probably wouldn't.
So apparently it was canceled due to the tornado warnings in Des Moines. Canceled today's outdoor rally at the Laridson Amphitheater. They will be rescheduling. Apparently, people cared about this. I didn't, and I live here. But no, Iowa was trending on what's happening on Twitter. So is Jake Paul.
Fun.
Is Jake Paul the Paul brother who does all that boxing, or is it the other Paul?
They both do boxing, but one of them went into WWE.
Yeah, I think that was Logan Paul who did
I
the
think it was
WWE stuff.
Logan.
Yeah. Well, kudos to him. He actually seems pretty good at it. So credit where it's due.
If only
He's an
he'd
athlete
stay out
guy.
of crypto.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if only he'd stay out of certain Japanese forests.
Jake is the older of the two brothers, and he had also come out as a flat earther a couple years ago.
He did a joke documentary about it. He wasn't actually. It was one of the few things that he has released where it was like, wow, this is genuinely creative and entertaining.
Yeah.
And for Kenzie, Trey says, I just saw Kenzie's tweet about 30 minutes ago. I guess I missed the bread part. And
yeah.
Yes, Trey, you missed the bread part, but that's okay because this is on YouTube. You can go back and watch quite literally the entire first half of the show, the first hour of the show, and we talk pretty much nothing but food the entire time.
Yeah. It's bound to make you hungry, though, so just be warned and be ready to have snacks on hand. You will be
Yes.
hungry.
You should order a pizza right now.
Just don't put any pineapple or kiwi or fries and gravy on it.
Or broccoli.
Or sushi. Allegedly sushi.
It's sushi with air quotes.
Those things will make sense in context once you watch the video.
One day I'm going to make a barbecue sushi roll.
Ooh,
It's gonna happen.
be interesting. I'd eat it.
I've had barbecue sushi rolls actually. Yeah, it technically was barbecue eel sushi roll.
Ugh.
It's actually really good. You wouldn't think eel tastes good, but it actually tastes Japanese barbecue eel is damn good.
I
I
think
would
I've
Y'all
had
recommend
need me.
barbecue
I'll
before.
be over at the Panda Express for my American Chinese.
I think I've had eel before. It was like one of those things where it's like, wow, I actually really like this.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, eel
it's-
itself is delicious, but
Yeah.
barbecue eel. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done. You lost me.
In
and
other
we
news,
have once again entered the food chat.
in I just made a giant chocolate shake for dinner. That's Trey.
Amazing.
So in other news, it says Zelensky visited Rome wearing a jumper with the sign of the OUN, Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, responsible for thousands of deaths of civilians during World War II. Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, it seems the regime in Ukraine is a big fan of certain groups in World War II. Big fan of them.
Apparently, or so everybody says. All I care about is we need to stop sending money to anyone and everyone.
Yes.
I think it says a lot that a bunch of people who have never been to Ukraine, never thought about Ukraine, couldn't point Ukraine out on a map, suddenly have all of these big like opinions about Ukraine and what they're
Mhm.
connected to, and it's like
Exactly.
I feel like we should just let them deal with their own stuff. We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. You don't know anything about them.
There's a
Well, and
difference
Not our
about.
business.
There's a big difference about wanting to be part of it to contribute towards a resolution versus being part of it to get your opinion out there to be heard so that everyone knows what you think should be done.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
and-
about the extent of what your opinion goes to, is just being heard. If it's not contributing to a solving the problem, stay the hell out of it.
And people can't even point out Poland on a map.
Yeah.
And it sits like right there in between Germany and Russia. It's
People
easy.
can't even point out Canada on a map. Let's be honest. Like,
No, they just point to the sky and they assume it's after death.
well, to quote Homer Simpson, you can't blame them for not being able to point out Canada on a map. It's all tucked away down there.
It's all tucked away down there.
Yes. Homer Simpson quote.
Yeah, I caught on to that. I'm just like,
Okay, so let's go ahead and show the viewers where these countries
Canada
are on a
is-
map.
Oh.
Well, Canada's right there. If you can't find it on a map, you're an idiot. Okay?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so let's go around. So we were having a discussion earlier this week between me and Stoner about what would have happened if Marines had stormed Normandy instead of the army. And what I said kind of would probably piss a few soldiers off. We would have decimated in France. We would have taken over quite quickly. But that's pretty much just because we've been to France once before. In World War I, we decimated the Germans at the Battle of Bellewood. We got 2 French fourgés for that battle. The
Wait,
5th
French fourgés?
French fourgé.
What is that?
French fourgé. Let's see. A French fourgé on a Marine Corps uniform. There are a lot of units that wear a fourgé, but basically it's just an award. It signifies whatever the French want it to. In this instance, the 5th and 6th regiments of the United States Marine Corps, they both earned the French fourgé. In order for you as a Marine to wear a French fourgé, you must be either in the 5th or 6th regiment of the Marine Corps, or you have to have served in both the 5th and the 6th regiment of the Marine Corps.
Is it like a really high honor, like a really high award in France?
That I don't know. But I do know that it was awarded to the Marines because of the Battle of Bellewood. There's also a story that says that the Germans started calling us Teufelhunden because of the Battle of Bellewood, but that's propaganda.
Right.
The Germans never called us Teufelhunden, or
What does that mean in
devil dogs.
Ah.
They never called us that. So, you know, if we had gone to France as Marines in World War II, we would have decimated. We would have gotten all the way through there in Germany, and just we would have brought everything down. So, France is right next to Germany, and Germany borders all of the Eastern Bloc. I mean, it's right here, Poland, right next to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that Poland was kind of like the big one. Whoever had Poland pissed off the other one. So Germans and Russians went back and forth for years.
Centuries,
yeah.
Yeah. I like before Poland, the Poland-Lithuanian Commonwealth was like the dominant power in Europe for centuries as well. Right? Poland used to have a bunch of Russia in it, as well as all of like the Baltics. Poland used to be a massive empire.
Oh yeah.
And they still remember, like, the people there. We don't know what the fuck the Poland-Lithuanian Commonwealth is, but they still remember that.
There are some things from the Poland lifestyle that I really wish that we would adapt.
Like pierogies?
No, like how
Yes.
instead of enormously large cities, go back to the smaller villages where you literally can walk downtown to get everything you need and then walk back home.
Yep.
Well,
I
mean,
literally want that bad enough because it's a healthier choice. I mean, we can still have cars, it'll be just going to out of town, but as far as in town goes, there's no need to get in the car, jump on the highway, and then go 2-3 miles down there to Walmart.
I mean,
just walk down a few blocks, and there's your entire market: your butcher, your fisher, your farmer's market, your produce, anything of the sort.
You've kind of already got that in New York City.
There's also murder in New York City, and really bad snow graves. So I'm good, thanks.
One thing we do need, very very much, Eastern European culture has. We need to get back to the time when if you did wrong, babushkas would come out of nowhere and beat you with spoons.
Old,
Babushkas would keep an eye on you. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
they'd keep you
old
in
ladies
line.
with hoods.
No, generally, America itself could do a lot to just start adapting some lifestyle aspects from other countries. And the fact that we continue being "Make America Great Again." You mean stop self growth and progress to be a better country? Is that what you mean?
I think the problem is that cities ruined villages.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because everything's about profit, maximizing, cramping everything in.
And somehow they made it like the liberal paradise, so half the country like adamantly defends them no matter what. It's like,
Let's just
Yeah.
do what Berlin did, cut the country in half some way, and then just split off. One side is all freaking communist, freaking political cities and freaking
Yeah.
stock market, and then the other side is country villages,
Well,
mountains, and villas and stuff like
Berlin.
that.
Well,
Where
the issue is once that happens, like the people in those awful, fucking god awful cities, they're gonna flee those cities at some point because of how awful and crime and used needle and human feces filled streets they are. They're gonna
Build a
flee
wall.
them and retreat to the good rural and suburban areas. And then they're not going to be self-aware enough to not vote to turn them into the exact same thing.
I mean, the Confederacy was a thing.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the people.
I just want a world somewhere in between an option of living cyberpunk edge runners and then freaking Legend of Zelda, freaking Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
I want options between those two.
So
Yeah.
for anyone that does not know anything about geography, this huge landmass right up here, this is Russia. Goes all the way up here. And not too far away from Russia is Alaska.
Yeah.
This entire
Or
area.
as Sarah Palin once said, she could see Russia from her house.
Yeah,
As she claims.
it wouldn't surprise me. There is not a huge distance between these two tips. And anyone that understands light refraction, water actually makes this landmass seem closer to this landmass, which is why you can see more than 3 miles when you're looking over the ocean, but you can't see more than 3 miles when you're looking over land.
Is 3 miles like the standard limit for human vision on land?
3 miles is the curvature of the Earth.
Oh.
So
people wish they could see 3 miles ahead.
So
Simo Haya can.
Sima
Like I
Haya.
said, she claims.
Sima Haya can see as far as Sima Haya wants because he's the frickin' White Death, okay? But when it comes down to it, 3 miles and everything else, 3 miles out and further, actually dips below your horizon. Water makes it different. Water refracts light from the other side of the water, and so something that's 10, 20, even 30 miles away can be seen by the naked eye.
Wow.
It's weird as all get out, and having a telescope or a telescope will actually allow you to see even further over water.
A side note on my whole entire idea between Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Cyberpunk Edge Runners kind of world. just keep in mind that the village area, you get to go back to the Renaissance fashion if you wanted. So if you wanted to go to the supermarket in a plague doctor outfit, you totally can, and no one would question it. It's
And
motivation.
and just to demonstrate where people probably think uh Ukraine is, they probably think Ukraine is somewhere down here near Afghanistan,
Probably.
or perhaps somewhere near Georgia. And
Mhm.
I could understand Georgia because that's not too far off.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to mix up Ukrainians and Georgians.
No.
Georgians
Never.
will still fuck you up.
They'll definitely try.
It is also worth noting, just on the grand scheme of things, just how small Europe is. Like, if you superimposed Quebec onto that image of Europe, it would be Quebec would cover most of it.
Well, let's be fair here. Russia is no longer considered part of the Asian continent.
It isn't.
No, they have reclassified it as part of the European continent, even though it's on a different tectonic plate.
Huh. So just for reference, who is they?
People in charge of social studies. I don't know. We were taught this. We were taught this when I was in middle school. That
Hmm.
they don't like the idea that Russia is an Eastern European country, but it's part of the Asian continent. So they just classified it as part of the European continent.
Hmm.
But again, that's a bunch of U.S. Rewrite of things, and I don't so much like it. Yes, Russia is part of the Asian continent, point blank, period. But
Yeah, because
a lot
I
of
mean, like
people-
in the 19th century, right? Like Russia annexed part of China. China's in the Asian continent, but like Vladivostok used to be a Chinese possession. Now it's Russian. But at the same time, Russia also has some like I'm of the opinion it's in both. It's just this so massive. It's in both the continents.
Yep.
Right? Like St. Petersburg is obviously Eastern Europe. But Vladivostok is obviously Asia, right? Like it's to the east of China.
Yeah, it would be around this area.
Yeah. Right, like the Japanese and the Russians in the early 20th century fought a war over various ports around China, and Japan won.
Now,
So-
obviously, the most populated area is southeastern China.
Yeah.
There's some population over here, and there's some population in this region.
Yeah,
up here.
northwestern China is mostly like a desert and like a mountain. This is not much. There's not much there.
But this is also where you get really close to more Islamic countries. I mean, Afghanistan borders Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, Pakistan as well around there, I believe.
Yeah, Pakistan's down here. Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then, of course, you've got Iran, Iraq, and
Mhm.
I know that kids that I grew up with think that Pakistan is over here where Iraq is, and that Iraq is over here where Pakistan is. because they think this is a big no-go area. Because
Oh.
we can't fly over Syria. We can't fly over Iran. Or at least we're not supposed to.
Mhm.
And we shouldn't. We're not supposed to be flying into Pakistani airspace. Just
Like, do you mean like commercially or militarily?
No, military.
Ah.
That would probably be considered an act of war. Though
Hasn't Pakistan been like kind of militarily aligned with the US for like the last like several decades?
Off and on. Pakistan has given aid and comfort to our quote-unquote enemies.
Yeah.
So
I
Osama
know.
bin Laden was found in Pakistan.
Yeah, I know during the Cold War, we kind of sided with Pakistan against India, and whereas the communists sided with India. And like I know we had some like the various military alliances, but other than that, yeah, I've also heard that afterwards yeah, like the border regions between Afghanistan and Pakistan were very porous for various Taliban figures, like the Pashtun regions of Pakistan and Afghanistan. They were um very much traveling through both of them during the whole war in Afghanistan thing.
Well, we are right up against our 2-hour limit here. So I'm going to have everyone say their goodbyes. Give me a second to pull this up and shut this down. Okay, so we will start with Molly. Go ahead and say goodnight, Molly.
Bye-bye.
And then we will go to Dale. Say goodnight, Dale.
Oh, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Dale, and I bid you adieu.
Fucking
Adieu.
French.
Adieu to you and you
Adieu.
and you. And let's have Kenzie say goodnight.
Good night.
I hope to have you on again sometime soon as a guest host.
I'd love to.
And then say goodnight, Kota.
Good night, everyone.
And for anyone and everyone, we are going to start putting the after hours up on Minds. I am getting that set up this week. There will be a paywall, so just be ready for that. There will be an announcement on the podcast channel or the podcast Twitter for that. So I will bid everyone a guten Abend, or a good Nacht, and I hope everyone has a good one. Give me a second here to go ahead and get this started for everyone.